Executive was Nairobi City County Executive, in the statement of receipts and payments, had total receipts of 28 billion Kenya shillings, comprising, 29 billion. Am I reading the right ones? 28 billion, 28.2 billion.
Where are you?
I'm looking at the statement of receipts and payments for the year ended 30th of June 2022. It's in the financial statements. I want us to dispense with that issue of NMS, as we had discussed earlier, so that the governor is aware of our resolution. It's in the statement of receipts and payments. It's usually the first, just after the Auditor General's signature. Nairobi City County Executive had total receipts of 28.2 billion, comprising of 19 billion as exchequer releases, 8.9 billion as on-source revenue, and 1,442,000 as returned CRF issues. Out of the total receipts of 28.2 billion, Nairobi City County Executive transferred 13 billion to other government units. Out of the 13 billion transferred to other government units, 11.8 billion was transferred to the Nairobi Metropolitan Services. 11,847,311,056. Now, 11 billion out of 28 billion is something in the range of what? Is that 40%? That's almost 40% of what Nairobi received went to the Nairobi Metropolitan Service. The 11 billion that went to the Nairobi Metropolitan Service, we do not have an audit report on that 11 billion. And we take note that Article 187 of the Constitution says that even in the case where a function is transferred, responsibility for that function remains, constitutional responsibility for the performance of the function or exercise of the power shall remain with the government to which it is assigned by the 4th schedule. We have asked the Auditor General to tell us whether they have audited the 11 billion. They have said it has been audited under the financial statements of the presidency. We have directed the Auditor General to lay the financial statements or the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the presidency before the Senate, so that the Senate can interrogate the utilization of the 11 billion. The accounting officer of the presidency will need to appear before this committee, but the chief executive officer of Nairobi City County Executive, in this case the governor, to whom constitutional responsibility for performance of those functions rests, will also need to accompany the accounting officer of the presidency. So I needed to point that out because out of the 29 billion, there is 11 billion that we do not have visibility over. So, Auditor General, just go on record that you will table the report of the Auditor General.
Chair, we have confirmed that we'll be able to table the report of the Auditor General on the audit of the presidency for the period 2021-2022 before Senate.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
With that in mind, let's now proceed and look at the amount of money that remained within the control of Nairobi City County.
Yeah, can I say something on that?
Can you confirm the 11B is also part of that for the record?
Auditor General?
Chair, once we table the report, it's expected that the 11 billion will be part of that information.
Because it must be seen as a receipt.
Yes.
It must be reflected as a receipt.
Yes, Chair.
That will be the starting point.
Yes, Chair.
Did 11 billion come from Nairobi City County?
Yes. Thank you,
and
Chair.
if there's a problem there, then we'll know that the whole NMS was a booby trap.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair, just a quick one, a follow-up through the OAG and through you. will it also, that report include the pending bill that, or liabilities that were left under the defactant Metropolitan Services? Because as we are pointing right, the 13 billion under 2021, 2022, 2020, 2021 on 11 billion, will that report include the pending bill or bills that were incurred by Nairobi Metropolitan Services? Because I saw somewhere it's way beyond than 14 billion that on those transferred functions. I thank you, Chair.
Auditor General, are you aware of the contents of those financial statements and the report?
Thank you, Chair. We can check and confirm. However, in preparation of financial statements, it's a requirement that the pending bills are disclosed. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Governor, you wanted to say something on that?
Yes, Chair. Chair, the people of Nairobi will be very happy with what you're doing. Very happy. Because it's not just, there's the 11 billion. If you see the next column, the previous year, there's 10 billion from Nairobi to that entity. And the following year, there's also some money. The total amount that Nairobi County government sent to NMS was 27 billion. And then after that, a pending bill of 16 billion. So Nairobians need to be told how 43 billion was spent in 2 years. And that is while some projects were still being done by the national government. Nairobi County still maintained some element of payroll because of the staff who had not been seconded there. But 43 billion, you know, like the equivalent of Thika Highway, you know, which was 40 billion, must be accounted for. I'm very happy that the position was taken at IBEC, the first IBEC we attended, and later the Auditor General concurred, because there was an attempt to push these pending bills to Nairobi County government. And you said these outstanding liabilities incurred by entity that at the national level should not and cannot be pushed to the county government, despite the constitutional responsibility remaining with us. When you invoke Article 187 to help a county, you can't leave it worse off than you found it. You should not. So the responsibility for the liabilities, I think, are placed in the right place. But that accountability, Chair, I just want to thank you for going in that direction.
Chair, if I remember correctly, and Governor, you were there, we did have a meeting with the Comptroller of State House. It was before this very committee. And there was a commitment from national government that those pending bills that were owed or due from NMS would not be put on our books. Perhaps what you need to update us on is how far has that conversation gone now? And in my most recent conversation with you on this particular issue, you indicated that, in fact, the handover process, there are still some outstanding issues in terms of handover of handing back of the functions and all the documentation back to the Nairobi County government. Has that process now been concluded?
Before you respond, let's get the intervention of Senator Nyonka.
Thank you, Chair. Governor, I happen to be very lucky that I sit in 3 different committees that have been dealing with this matter. I really hope today when you pronounce yourself that I would like to have the people who are responsible for NMS to just come and tell us what actually happened with NMS. Because this issue is not as simple as every time we are talking about for the last 2 years. All right. In fact, the other issue I wanted to raise, Chair, again, linked with NMS, is, Governor, I don't know whether I'm right on this one. Even the platform that you're using to collect revenue in Nairobi County, you don't even have the passwords. You don't even know where the servers are. That is
not true, Chair.
Okay, can you clarify on that? Because in the other committee, that's the impression we got.
No, that would be...
Let's proceed in this manner, because I was giving directions on how to deal with the 11 billion. Now, the governor has opened debate on it. I really wouldn't want us to debate it for long. So just deal with very briefly. I think Kato, you appeared alongside Kato when we were giving directions that they give you access to the servers. I think that's what Senator Onyonka is referring to. And we even directed that some officer be found,
Yeah.
and that officer should provide access. So I hope that was complied with. And I also hope that the proclamation that the pending bills would remain the national government books was followed through. Just confirm that.
The pending bills, Chair, was a resolution of IBEC. First, it was a position of the Auditor General that we agreed with happily, and the pronouncement was made at IBEC. We don't intend to, pay those outstanding liabilities that had been incurred at that time. And I'll give you an example. There was a bill of more than $1 billion owed to NHIF for insurance. And they had tried to push that down the throat of the county. And I told them, listen, why are we being asked to pay for this $1 billion? Yet the staff at NMS were both county and national. There were staff from the national government sent to NMS. There were staff from the county government sent to NMS. Why is the bill a Nairobi County bill? And I told that PS Gadesha that, you people cannot try to twist the county government or to bully the county government into paying for what you incurred. So Chair, the process of handover from an MS senator, the only things that are pending are now the files that are pending payment, because until they pay and conclude, they can't hand those to us, and we ask them to fast track so that we can finish these projects. Because now going forward, if, for instance, I'll give you an example of Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital. One of the buildings has a pending payment owed. We want them to pay so that we continue and conclude that construction. And there are many other examples. The only two others really was City Park, that had gone under KFS during NMS time, the management of City Park. That one has been decreed. Of course, that comes back to us as a county government. Those Mama
Governor,
Margaret,
just clarify something for me. Isn't there a provision in your budget for completion of the works at Mama Lucy?
Yes, but you see, we can't until they hand over the Novate,
Why
the
were you
contract.
budgeting for it, and you know for a fact that the process of handover has not been completed?
No, those are other projects. It's not one project at Mama Lucy.
So the one that is told that was begun by NMS, and there's another one at Mbagathi as well.
No, there are a number of different projects.
Yes,
Like
so
in Mbagathi,
why
there's
budget
Liku.
for them when we know it might not happen in this financial year?
No, those are not the stalled ones by NMS. Those are our own, the other projects.
We're beginning new projects.
There are projects that the county had started before, that NMS, for instance, didn't continue with.
So at
There are
Mama,
also
Lucy,
new projects.
at Mama Lucy, what is the budget for? It's not the building that was told that was begun by
We have to look at it
NMS.
because there's also a mother and child center. There's quite a bit going on in Mama Lucy. So you can tell me the exact budget line. I can tell you what it is.
Could we avoid getting into the specifics at this time, so we deal with the specifics when the Auditor General tables that report, so that we can now move on to something else, because that takes care of the 11 billion part of your revenue. Auditor General, this was an adverse opinion. When you come to the basis of the adverse opinion, your first finding is on compensation of employees. Already, Auditor General, you have given us an update, and so I will refer to the finding of the Auditor General as is in the report, just to be efficient and to save time. I will also refer to the response by the county government as per the management response tabled by the governor. We have reviewed it, and the Auditor General has told us that out of the amount that was queried, there was a variance of 313 million, where the breakdown was not provided. Now, the only comfort we take is that the expenditure is going down. At least it's not going up. But the Auditor General says that 1.1 billion of that 1.4 billion has been explained, and I can see that there is a table there. And the auditor tells us that the balance of 313 million has not been justified. Governor, could you explain that variance of 313 million?
Chair, do I read the entire management response or just point to?
Yeah, because I'm sure
What we
you're
have.
familiar with this report. We are also familiar with it. The Auditor General has given us a very detailed brief. The only thing that is pending there is accountability for 313 million. 1.1 billion, the Auditor General feels fairly satisfied.
Governor, there is a response at page 7 of your reply. That's what we would
Yeah,
want.
Yeah, let's just go to that, that statement.
my
you made
document is
there.
a bit different, but let me just start. The compensation of employees of 6 billion, 6.4, reported in the financial statements.
Governor,
Yeah.
you know sometimes even when you are moving, even in the committee of the whole, sometimes you say, I beg to move that clause 2 be amended as in the order paper.
Yes.
So that's for efficiency. So we have taken note of your written response, which is about 3 pages. The only part we have
Okay,
a
I've
question
seen-
on
I've seen what they said
is on the 313 million.
Thank you, Chair. So the response is as in my response. The 313 million, Chairman, is attributable to off-payroll items. The off-payroll, according to the report, such as casuals, retiree terminal benefits, service gratuities, payments paid during the 2 financial years. And we've attached some documents: new employee hiring, staff exits, deed of transfer, and gazette notice on the deed of functions. I will have my CFO give you the details of
What,
that.
yeah, what
313.
the Auditor General is looking for, and what we are looking for, is a breakdown of those 313. Even if they are off payroll items, they need to be broken down. Your first table has a total in Kenya shillings, and then your second table has a total count. We want total cash, not total count of movements.
Thank you so much, Chair, for the question. Chair, this particular question was addressing a bigger variance of 1.14B, which we've explained the cause of the variance. For the 313, as stated by His Excellency the Governor, these are items that usually do not appear in our IPPD byproduct, and they refer to casuals, retirees, and also those who are on contract, and we usually pay gratuities too. But the breakdown was not provided to the auditors, though that can be provided.
Well, if it was not provided, does it mean you didn't have the records?
The records are there, Chair.
Yeah, because if you list here, there were 43 deaths. If there are 43 deaths, there should be names and a figure and the benefits that were paid to them. If there were 3 retirements at 50, it's persons who retire. So that breakdown ought to be provided. Yeah. Governor, unless you guys are trying to conceal something.
Perhaps Chair also clarify, because there's 5 annexures, Governor.
Yes.
Do those annexures speak to the question? Would the Chair find that information in those annexures, the amounts?
No. Chair, those annexures, actually, because you want a list of casuals,
yes.
You want the retiree terminal benefits, service gratuity payments in those 2 financial years, that is 2020, 21 and 21-22.
Yeah, so you may have misunderstood the query. So if you can provide this.
Yeah, so that's what we can provide, Chair. I think that would answer the 313.
Auditor General, is this part of what was coming to you at the last minute? Is this part of it, or it was payment vouchers?
Chair, there are payment vouchers for casuals, but for us to be able to extract this information, we need to clearly be given the listings of the names, as we said, and then their actual earnings, so that we can tally that figure and see whether it is totaling to 330.
So it has not been provided yet, because you mentioned to us that there were some payment vouchers that were presented at the last minute.
No, Chair.
This is not part of it.
Yes, Chair.
And since I know there are some queries where you'll be asking for time to verify the payment vouchers, should we then direct the governor to provide this breakdown within 7 days so that you do the verification as you sort out the other payment vouchers?
That would be late, Chair.
Governor, can this breakdown be provided?
Let me have the Chief Officer, PSM. To answer him, not me.
No, I don't want a story. I just want to be told that this will be provided to the Auditor General.
She has said she will provide.
Within how many days do you how many days do you need? Within 7 days, so that Auditor General.
Chair, she has to be on record.
Yes. I can answer 7 days.
No. The chief officer, because she's the one to provide.
7 days.
Oh.
Excuse me, Chair. Madam, could I please ask you a question? When you see such questions being asked, why is it that you're unable to provide the basic documentation analysis to the governor?
We are doing that because they are.
That's not what I asked you.
Yes.
Why is it that you did not provide that information before you came here?
I was organizing with my team, and we've been trying to retrieve it. And even as we sit here, I'm in touch with them. And that is why when we give 7 days, we are sure by that time we'll be able to provide.
So the reason why you are not getting the documents was?
Some of them were still missing, but they are retrieving them.
Why are you not able even to say that in your report when Governor is answering the questions?
I'm sorry, sir.
You understand the problem we are having?
I do, yes.
This is a matter that we should never interrogate here. Because you have the documents, you would have given them to him. Yeah. Or did you think we'll not be able to see?
No.
Sisi wote ni wajuaji. Tunaonanga kila kitu.
I understand.
In fact, Governor, you see, it is pointless for your team to go and attach documents that have no relevance at all to the question. So if effort is being spent in answering the wrong question, there's a problem in those departments, Governor. So that somebody comes up with 5 annexures of big volumes of documents that do not say anything to the query. So we're asking ourselves, was the question misunderstood? Or somebody is digging for the wrong documents for all this time and then says in 7 days they can get the correct documents. I'm a bit worried for you there.
I'm also worried. And people will answer now for themselves. Correct. Yeah. I know, of course, in as much as the chief officer, just like me, was not in the county at that time, you have staff who are there, who need to be able to give what is asked for by the Auditor General. Even if it's 2020, 2021, that should be. I hear what Senator Onyonka is saying.
Okay, I think let's proceed. That was Madam Mopiata. Senator Sifuna is speculating that you have a degree in theology, but you don't look like you have a degree in theology. I don't think you'd pray for me. But just for the record, for it to go on record, because for Hansard purposes, they will need to capture the name and the officer who spoke. Just say your name and the function.
My name is Janet Opiata, Chief Officer Public Service. I have a degree, a Bachelor of Arts, social work. And then I am an HR practitioner.
A member of the Institute of HR Managers?
Yes.
Okay, I think that's sufficient.
Chair, a quick observation, under the Public Auditor Governor, and I agree with you that some officers might take their own responsibility. It is the responsibility to provide those documents when are needed by the auditor. Like this explanation that 7 days are being added. So the question is, under Section 65 of the Public Audit Act, it contravenes the law of public auditing when a document is needed, but it is not found. It only takes the Senate intervention, then that document is found. So, Governor, this management of auditing process, internal auditing and what have you, I know that is the work of CCM Finance and the department. What are you doing, Governor, through your office, Goodwill? Have you been able to have management meeting with the public, with the Office of the Auditor General, so that we don't have to discuss about provision of documentation, which should be a direct issue, Chair? So I think the issue here is just non-provision of documentation.
Yeah, Chair, of course, the management meetings are held. The entire audit process, and the Auditor General can confirm that they have had sessions, with the team. But sometimes it reaches where an issue that is not resolved still will not be resolved. If these documents from 2020 are not there, what do we do? And you see, the Auditor General should help us that yes, this issue we've marked as not yet resolved or partially resolved. How then can it
Order, Governor,
be
we have
resolved?
not reached there. You have said in 7 days you'll provide the breakdown for the 300 and something, because you have said there have been deaths and exits, etc. Unless you are saying that in the 7 days you are returning hot air, but we expect that in those 7 days you'll close that gap. Let's leave it at that, so that we take the decision upon the expiry of those 7 days.
Let's take the decision then. I'm sure there's some things we might not get, but at death, who died. Retirement at 50, that information must be there. Unpaid leave, most of this, I'll give the chief officer benefit of doubt when she says she can get this information.
Yes.
She should be able to get.
As a member of the institute, she's bound by certain professional codes of conduct. Let's expect that she will do the right thing. Let's then proceed to the next issue. This one, when we reviewed it, it raised a lot of queries, so I will ask the Auditor General to read it. I think it's about amounts owed to KPLC and Nairobi Water. Please read your finding, Auditor General.
Thank you, Chair. Issue number 2, unsupported expenditure on use of goods and services. The statement of receipts and payments, as disclosed in Note 7 to the financial statements, reflects use of goods and services total expenditure amount of Kenya shillings 7,642,844,133. However, examination of records revealed the following anomalies. 2.1, utility, supplies and services. Review of records in support of utility, supplies and services expenditure of Kenya shillings 156,511,724 revealed that payment vouchers amounting to Kenya shillings 100,862,069 paid to Kenya Power and Lightning Company Limited were not supported with invoices and bills from the company. Further, included in Annex 2 to the financial statements are pending accounts payable balance of Kenya shillings 26,270,995,418. The pending payable includes supply of services balance of Kenya shillings 22,929,252,921 as at 30th June 2022, which in turn includes a balance of Kenya shillings 304,812,436 and Kenya shillings 120,674,506 as at 30th June 2021 and 30th June 2022, respectively, owing to KPLC. However, the KPLC, through letter referenced KPI/10B.2A FINL/10/2 dated 9th March 2022, indicates that the county owes the company an amount totaling to Kenya shillings 1,460,542,895. The discrepancy in the two sets of records was not explained. In addition, it was established that the county committed to pay the KPLC an amount of Kenya shillings 50 million every month with effect from January 2022. However, as at 30th June 2022, only an amount of Kenya shillings 156,511,724 had been paid instead of the total of Kenya shillings 300 million as committed in the letter. Similarly, review of the pending bills for the year under review revealed that county owed Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company an amount of Kenya shillings 249 199 and 58 for bills dating back to 2016-2017 financial year. Bills for the year 2018, 2019, 2019, 2020, 2020, 2021, and 2021, 2022 have neither been paid nor included in the pending accounts payable. In addition, the management did not provide documents in support of payments, even remitted to Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company. In the circumstances, the completeness and accuracy of the expenditure could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, you may read your response.
Sorry. Chair, the response that I will give is as per the document we submitted, but I'd like this CC, Finance, to expound on it.
Well, let him read it. And this is critical. That's why I asked the Auditor General to read it.